Welcome to StoriesX, where the unexpected meets the unforgettable. Imagine this. They turned him away, insisting there were no rooms left, only to roll out the welcome mat for someone else moments later. What they didn't realize, the man they rejected was none other than Snoop Dogg, and what happened next would turn their world upside down. Before we dive into this incredible story, don't forget to give this video a like. Your support helps us bring you more extraordinary tales. The rain poured relentlessly as Snoop Dogg's sleek black SUV rolled into the circular driveway of the Imperial Sunset Hotel in Long Beach, California. The building stood like a glowing jewel in the night, its golden chandeliers casting a warm, inviting light onto the slick pavement. Inside, the hum of quiet conversations and the soft chime of a piano emanated, painting a picture of luxury and comfort. For Snoop, this was supposed to be a refuge, a place to shake off the fatigue of travel and prepare for the next day's challenges. Instead, it was about to become the setting of an unexpected confrontation. As the SUV came to a stop, Snoop stepped out into the rain, his iconic blue and gold jacket glinting under the light. At 6'4", he carried himself with the calm confidence of someone who had spent decades commanding rooms and crowds. The rain beaded on his sunglasses as he adjusted his collar and strode toward the entrance. He wasn't here to make a scene, just to find a room for the night. The marble floors of the lobby gleamed under the chandelier's light. The air was rich with the scent of freshly cut roses mingling with a faint hint of espresso from the cafe tucked into one corner. The atmosphere whispered exclusivity, a haven for those who could afford its comforts. Snoop approached the front desk, his polished shoes making soft clicks against the floor. Behind the desk stood Emily, a white woman in her late 20s with impeccably styled blonde hair and a sharp uniform that mirrored the hotel's elegance. Her name tag gleamed under the light, but her demeanor lacked warmth. Her eyes barely flicked up from the monitor as Snoop approached. "Good evening," Snoop said, his tone calm but friendly. "I'd like a room for the night. My flight got delayed and I need a place to rest before I catch the next one." Emily's fingers hovered over her keyboard, and she gave him a perfunctory glance before returning her attention to the screen. "I'm sorry, sir," she said, her voice devoid of emotion. "We're fully booked tonight." Snoop raised an eyebrow, glancing around the lobby. It was far from bustling. A few guests lingered near the lounge, and the occasional chime of the elevator marked sparse activity. "Fully booked, huh? Not even a single room?" he asked, his tone polite but questioning. Emily's smile tightened slightly, becoming more of a practiced smirk. "That's correct, there's nothing available." Before Snoop could respond, the revolving doors spun open. A middle-aged white couple entered, pulling wheeled suitcases behind them. Emily's entire demeanor shifted. Her smile widened, and her voice turned syrupy sweet. "Welcome to the Imperial Sunset Hotel. Do you have a reservation?" she asked, her tone brimming with cheer. The man shook his head. "No, we're hoping you might have something available," he said. Emily's fingers danced across the keyboard with newfound speed. "Of course, let me check," she said brightly. In moments, she handed them a key card. "Enjoy your stay," she chirped as they headed toward the elevator. Snoop watched the exchange unfold, his calm expression giving way to a flicker of disbelief. Clearing his throat, he stepped forward. "I thought you said you were fully booked," he asked evenly, his tone neither confrontational nor meek. Emily's cheeks flushed slightly, but she maintained her tight smile. "Oh, I meant we don't have anything suitable for your needs," she replied, her tone dripping with insincerity. Snoop stood still, letting her words hang in the air for a moment. He had encountered bias and prejudice before, but there was something particularly cutting about how it played out in this gilded lobby. He glanced at Emily, then at the other staff who were carefully avoiding his gaze, and back to Emily. "Thank you for your time," he said finally, his voice steady. Without another word, he turned on his heel and walked out into the rain. The storm outside seemed fitting. The cool droplets hit his skin as he stepped under the awning, pausing to take in the glowing facade of the hotel. A younger version of himself might have confronted Emily right there, calling her out for the hypocrisy and injustice. But years of navigating the complexities of fame, business, and life had taught him to channel his energy more strategically. There were better ways to make a statement. Leaning against a marble pillar, Snoop watched the revolving doors for a moment longer. A young man in his 20s entered, his hoodie soaked from the rain, his backpack slung casually over one shoulder. Snoop didn't need to hear the exchange to know what would happen next. Emily's warm smile and quick service were all too predictable. Within minutes, the man walked away with a room key in hand. Snoop clenched his jaw but said nothing. He turned, walking back to his SUV. As he slid into the leather seat, an idea began to form. This wasn't just about him. It was about every person who had walked into that hotel and faced the same quiet dismissal, but lacked the platform to do anything about it. Snoop wasn't just going to let this go. Not tonight. Not ever. The rain blurred the hotel's golden lights in his rearview mirror as he drove off. His mind set on what had to be done. Snoop Dogg's SUV glided through the rain-soaked streets of Long Beach, the rhythmic swish of the windshield wipers matching the quiet intensity of his thoughts. The sting of the Imperial Sunset Hotel's rejection simmered in his chest, not as a wound, but as a challenge. He had learned long ago that moments of adversity often held the seeds of opportunity. This was no different. Tonight wasn't just about a room. It was about a message. Pulling into the lot of Moe's 24/7 Eats, a modest diner with a flickering neon sign, Snoop parked his car and stepped inside. The warm glow of fluorescent lights and the aroma of sizzling bacon wrapped around him like a blanket. A bell chimed as he entered, and a waitress behind the counter glanced up, offering a tired but genuine smile. Snoop slid into a corner booth by the window, his jacket glistening slightly from the rain. He ordered a coffee and pulled out his laptop, the weight of the night beginning to channel into action. As the waitress set the steaming mug on his table, he nodded his thanks and opened his laptop. The world had always underestimated him, and he had built a career proving them wrong. Tonight, he would do it again. Snoop's fingers moved deftly across the keyboard as he logged into his investment portfolio. For months, he had been hearing whispers about the Imperial Sunset Hotel, part of a struggling chain. The property had been on the market for a while, though it had failed to attract any serious buyers. His team had flagged it during a routine meeting about potential ventures, but at the time, it had seemed too small to warrant his attention. That was before tonight. He dialed his attorney, Lisa Reynolds, a no-nonsense powerhouse known for closing deals faster than most people could draft a proposal. "Lisa," Snoop began, his voice steady, "I need the paperwork on the Imperial Sunset Hotel ready to sign by sunrise." Lisa's sharp intake of breath was audible through the phone. "By sunrise? Snoop, that's ambitious, even for you. Make it happen," he replied, his tone leaving no room for argument. "I'm not just buying a hotel, I'm buying a story that needs a different ending." Lisa didn't hesitate further. "Consider it done," she said, her voice firm with determination. As the hours ticked by, Snoop worked tirelessly with his team, reviewing financial reports, drafting agreements, and finalizing the details of the deal. The rain outside softened into a drizzle, and the faint hum of conversation in the diner faded as the late-night crowd thinned. But Snoop's focus never wavered. He sipped his coffee, his mind laser-focused on the task at hand. By the time the first streaks of dawn broke across the horizon, the deal was sealed. The Imperial Sunset Hotel officially belonged to Snoop Dogg. He closed his laptop and leaned back in the booth, a rare smile spreading across his face. The waitress, who had been refilling his coffee throughout the night, approached once more. "You've been busy," she said, nodding toward the now-closed laptop. "Big night," Snoop replied, sliding a generous tip across the table. "Thanks for the coffee." The waitress smiled, though her curiosity was evident. "Good luck with whatever you've got going on." Snoop chuckled as he stood, adjusting his jacket. "Luck's got nothing to do with it." The morning sun glinted off the hotel's polished facade as Snoop pulled back into the circular driveway of the Imperial Sunset. This time there was no rain, no gloom, just the golden light of a new day. Snoop stepped out of his SUV, now dressed sharply in a tailored suit that exuded both confidence and authority. The staff inside the lobby bustled about, preparing for another day. When Snoop entered, the air in the room seemed to shift. Emily, the front desk clerk from the night before, was already stationed behind the counter. Her polished smile faltered the moment she recognized him, her hands pausing mid-gesture as she straightened a stack of papers. "Good morning, sir," she began, her voice tentative. Snoop didn't answer immediately. Instead, he placed a sleek black folder on the counter, the edges of the legal documents inside visible. He opened it slowly, revealing the bold stamp of ownership papers. "I'm here to make an introduction," he said, his tone measured but unyielding. "My name is Snoop Dogg, and as of this morning I am the new owner of the Imperial Sunset Hotel." Emily's face drained of color. She glanced nervously around the lobby as other staff members began to notice the exchange. Her practiced professionalism crumbled as she stammered, "I don't understand." "It's simple," Snoop replied, leaning forward slightly. "This hotel is under new management and things are about to change." The other staff gathered subtly, curiosity and apprehension in their eyes. Snoop turned to address them directly. "Last night I experienced something here that no guest should ever face. Disrespect and discrimination. That ends today. This hotel will no longer be a place where people are judged or turned away. We're going to rewrite its story, starting now." The room fell silent as Snoop's words sank in. This wasn't just about ownership. It was about transformation. The Imperial Sunset Hotel had a new leader, and the journey to redemption had begun. The tension in the Imperial Sunset Hotel lobby was palpable as Snoop Dogg's words hung in the air. Emily, the front desk clerk, stood frozen, her hands trembling slightly as she gripped the counter. Around her, staff members exchanged glances, their expressions a mix of curiosity, unease, and, for some, a flicker of hope. They had never seen anyone walk into the hotel with such quiet authority, let alone challenge its culture so openly. Snoop took a moment to let the silence settle, his gaze sweeping the room. The polished marble floors and ornate chandeliers, once symbols of exclusivity, now seemed to echo the outdated attitudes he had encountered. He turned back to Emily, his tone calm but unyielding. "Don't worry," he said, his voice steady. "Change isn't easy, but it's necessary, and trust me, it'll be worth it." He motioned for the gathered staff to follow him into the spacious lounge adjacent to the lobby. The room, typically reserved for high-profile guests, had an air of grandeur with its plush leather seating and panoramic windows overlooking the city. Today, it would serve a different purpose, a starting point for the transformation of the Imperial Sunset Hotel. As the staff filed in, Snoop addressed them directly. "I know some of you are probably wondering what's about to happen," he began, standing at the front of the room with his hands clasped. "Let me make one thing clear. This isn't just about a new owner taking over. This is about creating a place where every guest, no matter who they are or where they come from, feels welcome." He paused, letting the weight of his words settle before continuing. "Last night I was turned away, not because there were no rooms, but because someone decided I didn't fit the image of this hotel. That's not just bad business, it's a lack of respect, and I won't stand for it." A murmur rippled through the group. Some nodded in quiet agreement while others remained silent, their expressions guarded. Maria, the veteran housekeeper who had worked at the hotel for over a decade, stepped forward hesitantly. "Mr. Dogg," she said softly, her voice carrying a mix of caution and sincerity. "I've been here long enough to see how things are run. I've felt it too, that judgment. If you're really serious about change, you'll have my support." Snoop smiled, nodding appreciatively. "That's what I like to hear, Maria. Change doesn't happen with one person. It happens when a team comes together, and I need every one of you on board." He outlined his vision for the hotel: mandatory training in diversity, equity, and inclusion for all staff, an open-door policy for feedback and concerns, and a complete overhaul of the hotel's policies to ensure fair treatment for guests and employees alike. "This isn't just about fixing what's broken," Snoop said. "It's about building something better." The staff listened intently as Snoop continued to lay out his plans. He announced that a new general manager would be joining the team, a seasoned professional with a reputation for fostering inclusive workplace cultures. "You'll meet them soon," Snoop added. "But for now, know this. We're not just talking about change, we're making it happen." The room buzzed with cautious optimism. For many of the employees, this was the first time someone in a position of power had addressed their concerns so openly. Maria felt a renewed sense of purpose, while Tom, the night porter who had overheard countless dismissive comments from previous managers, allowed himself a small, hopeful smile. But not everyone was convinced. Emily, who had been quiet throughout the meeting, finally spoke up. "With all due respect, Mr. Dogg," she said, her tone hesitant. "Some of us have been here for years. We've seen owners come and go, making promises they never keep. How do we know this is different?" Snoop met her gaze, his expression steady. "Because I'm not like the others," he said simply. "I'm not here to squeeze profits or put on a show. I'm here to make this hotel something we can all be proud of. And if anyone isn't willing to be part of that, they're free to leave." Emily's cheeks flushed, and she looked away, unsure of how to respond. Snoop didn't press her further. Instead, he turned back to the rest of the group. "We start today," he declared. "It's going to take hard work, but if we do this right, the Imperial Sunset Hotel will be known for something far greater than its chandeliers and marble floors. It'll be known for its people." By the time the meeting ended, the energy in the room had shifted. What began as uncertainty had transformed into a shared sense of purpose. Maria and several others lingered, discussing ideas for how to implement the changes. Tom volunteered to help coordinate the training sessions, his enthusiasm contagious. Even Emily, despite her initial skepticism, seemed to soften as she watched her colleagues rally around the new vision. Snoop stepped outside to take a call from Lisa, his attorney. "Everything's set," she confirmed. "The paperwork's filed, and the transfer is official. You're the sole owner now." "Thanks, Lisa," Snoop replied. "This is just the beginning." As he hung up, Snoop glanced back at the hotel. The Imperial Sunset was still the same building it had been last night, grand, polished, and seemingly impenetrable. But now, it carried the promise of something greater. Change was coming, and Snoop was ready to lead the way. The following weeks brought a whirlwind of activity to the Imperial Sunset Hotel. The once stately but stagnant establishment was undergoing a transformation that extended far beyond its physical structure. Snoop Dogg had a clear vision, and every detail was scrutinized to align with his commitment to fairness, inclusivity, and excellence. The first order of business was to set up a comprehensive training program for the staff. Snoop brought in experts in diversity, equity, and inclusion to conduct interactive workshops. The sessions weren't just lectures. They were candid conversations that encouraged staff to confront biases and learn how to create an environment that welcomed everyone. Maria, the veteran housekeeper, quickly became an advocate for the training. During a session on implicit bias, she shared her experiences of feeling undervalued and overlooked by previous management. "I've been here for years," she said, her voice steady but tinged with emotion. "I know what it's like to be invisible, to have your hard work taken for granted. If this is going to be a new chapter, we have to make sure no one feels that way again." Her words struck a chord with the team. Even Emily, the skeptical front desk clerk, found herself reflecting on her own interactions with guests and colleagues. "I didn't realize how much my assumptions shaped how I treated people," she admitted during a breakout discussion. "This is eye-opening." Meanwhile, the hotel itself was being physically transformed. Contractors worked tirelessly to renovate the outdated decor, replacing the cold, impersonal aesthetic with warm, welcoming touches. The lobby was redesigned to be more inclusive, with seating arrangements that encouraged conversation and accessibility features that ensured no guest felt excluded. Snoop was hands-on throughout the process. He spent hours reviewing design plans, testing the new in-room technology, and even sampling menu items for the revamped restaurant. "We're not cutting corners," he told the staff during a morning meeting. "If we're going to call this a fresh start, it needs to feel like one in every way." The changes weren't just cosmetic. Snoop also restructured the management hierarchy to give employees more of a voice. Maria was promoted to assistant manager, her dedication and experience earning her the trust of both her peers and Snoop himself. "You've been the backbone of this place," Snoop told her during a private conversation in his office. "It's time everyone else saw that too." Maria's promotion sent a powerful message to the rest of the team. Hard work and respect would be recognized and rewarded in this new era. It also bolstered morale, as employees began to see tangible evidence of the changes Snoop had promised. Not everyone embraced the transformation with open arms. A handful of employees resisted the new policies, clinging to the old ways of doing things. One senior concierge openly grumbled about the diversity training, dismissing it as unnecessary fluff. Snoop addressed the issue directly during a staff meeting. "I'm not here to force anyone to stay," he said, his tone firm but calm. "If you can't get behind the idea of treating every guest and colleague with respect, then this might not be the place for you anymore. But if you're willing to learn and grow, we'll support you every step of the way." The message was clear, and the few holdouts either adapted or left. Snoop's unwavering commitment to his vision earned him the respect of the majority of the staff, who were eager to be part of something greater than just another luxury hotel. As the renovations neared completion, word of the Imperial Sunset Hotel's transformation began to spread. Former guests returned out of curiosity, while new visitors arrived after hearing about the changes. Social media buzzed with photos of the revamped lobby and testimonials from guests who praised the staff's warmth and professionalism. One evening, a couple checked in with their 2 young children. The father, a tall man with a friendly demeanor, paused at the front desk to speak with Emily, who had recently completed the diversity training. "I've heard amazing things about this place," he said. "We almost didn't book because of some bad reviews, but it looks like things have really turned around." Emily smiled, her tone genuinely welcoming. "We've worked hard to make this a place where everyone feels at home. If there's anything you need during your stay, just let us know." As the family headed to their room, Maria, who was nearby, exchanged a glance with Emily. "You've come a long way," Maria said quietly, a hint of pride in her voice. "So have we all," Emily replied. Snoop watched the interaction from across the lobby, a quiet sense of satisfaction settling over him. The Imperial Sunset Hotel was no longer just a building. It was becoming a symbol of what could be achieved when people came together with a shared purpose. Later that night, as Snoop walked through the hotel's newly renovated halls, he reflected on how far they had come. The obstacles had been many, but so too had the victories. Change wasn't easy, and it wasn't always quick, but it was always worth it. As he reached the rooftop terrace, now a serene space with panoramic views of Long Beach, Snoop leaned on the railing and gazed out at the city lights. The Imperial Sunset Hotel was more than a business venture. It was a statement, and he was just getting started. Months later, the Imperial Sunset Hotel was almost unrecognizable, not just in its physical appearance but in its soul. The transformation had gone beyond the marble floors, upgraded amenities, and lush decor. It was in the way guests were greeted with warm smiles, the attentiveness of the staff, and the palpable energy of inclusivity that permeated the air. Snoop Dogg stood in the middle of the bustling lobby, wearing a tailored suit with his signature flair, observing the new rhythm of the hotel. The front desk hummed with activity as Emily, now one of the most reliable employees, chatted effortlessly with a family checking in. Maria, the assistant manager, walked past carrying a clipboard, her leadership evident in the way the staff gravitated toward her for guidance. Snoop nodded in quiet approval. He had worked hard to turn this hotel into more than a place to stay. It was now a testament to what could be accomplished when fairness and respect were at the core of every decision. The hotel's reputation had shifted dramatically. Reviews flooded in, describing the Imperial Sunset as a home away from home and an experience that treats every guest like family. Social media influencers posted glowing accounts of their stays, highlighting not just the luxury, but also the warmth of the staff. One viral post from a guest read, "I've been to many hotels, but this one is different. You don't just feel like a guest, you feel like you belong. Whoever's running this place knows what they're doing." The success wasn't just in the glowing reviews, but in the diversity of the guests filling the rooms. Families, solo travelers, honeymooners, and business people from all walks of life now made the Imperial Sunset their destination. The lobby, once sterile and exclusionary, now buzzed with the rich tapestry of humanity. As part of the grand reopening celebration, Snoop planned a special event to showcase the hotel's transformation and thank those who had supported the journey. Invitations were sent to local community leaders, influencers, and loyal guests. The event promised to be both a celebration and a statement of the hotel's values. On the night of the event, the lobby was transformed into a dazzling venue with twinkling lights, elegant floral arrangements, and live jazz music performed by a local band. Guests mingled, sipping on signature cocktails crafted by the hotel's newly hired mixologist, a talented woman Snoop had discovered during a local food festival. Maria, now in a sleek black dress, took the stage to welcome everyone. "This hotel has been through a lot," she began, her voice steady yet emotional. "But the changes we've made weren't just about fixing the building. They were about fixing what it stood for. And tonight I'm proud to say we've succeeded." The audience erupted into applause as Maria stepped aside to introduce Snoop, who strode up to the stage with his signature swagger. He adjusted his mic, looking out at the crowd with a confident smile. "When I walked into this hotel months ago," he began, "I was told there were no rooms for me, not because the place was full, but because of someone's assumptions about who I was and where I belonged. That moment could have been just another bad story, but I decided it wouldn't end there." The crowd listened intently, some nodding in agreement. Snoop continued, "What you see around you isn't just a hotel. It's a symbol of what can happen when we refuse to accept the status quo. It's proof that we can rewrite the narrative, not just for ourselves but for everyone who walks through those doors." He paused, his gaze sweeping the room. "I didn't do this alone. Every person here played a part. From Maria, who stepped up and showed us what leadership looks like, to the team that embraced change, to the guests who believed in our vision. This is your success as much as it is mine." Another round of applause erupted, accompanied by cheers. Snoop smiled, raising a glass of champagne. "To the Imperial Sunset Hotel, a place where everyone belongs." As the event wound down, Snoop wandered the lobby, mingling with guests and staff. He spotted a familiar face near the entrance. Evan, the former front desk clerk, standing awkwardly in a corner. Snoop approached him, his expression unreadable. Evan shifted uncomfortably, avoiding eye contact. "I just wanted to see the place," he mumbled. "I heard it's different now." Snoop studied him for a moment before speaking. "It is. Different because we chose to make it that way. But that choice is always there, Evan. You just gotta be willing to make it." Evan nodded, his gaze dropping. "I messed up," he admitted. "I get it now." "Good," Snoop said, his tone firm but not unkind. "Learn from it. Change is possible if you let it be." Evan looked up, a flicker of hope in his eyes. "Thanks." By the end of the night, the lobby was quiet again, the celebration leaving behind a sense of accomplishment and renewal. Snoop stood by the large glass windows, gazing out at the city lights. Maria approached him, holding the latest guest satisfaction report. 98% approval, she said with a grin. "I think we're doing something right," Snoop chuckled. "That 2% keeps us humble." Maria laughed, then grew serious. "Thank you, Snoop, for believing in this place, for believing in us." Snoop nodded. "It's not just about belief, Maria, it's about action. And y'all proved you're up for it." As Maria walked away, Snoop took one last look around the lobby, now bustling with energy and life. The Imperial Sunset Hotel wasn't just a business venture. It was a statement of what was possible when fairness and determination collided. With a contented smile, he adjusted his sunglasses and stepped out into the night, leaving the hotel in capable hands. The journey had been worth every challenge, and the future was brighter than ever. Snoop Dogg's experience at the Imperial Sunset Hotel serves as a reminder that respect and fairness should never be negotiable. By turning discrimination into a call for change, he transformed a moment of prejudice into a beacon of progress. This story teaches us that standing up for what's right can create a world where everyone is treated with dignity and equality.